Hello there and welcome. We are here today with what I'd like to regard as rock and roll legends of the children's world. Their sophomore album has now been released and it's all very exciting to have John and Kathi Burke. Welcome to the couch of...
Thank you.
I don't say doom, but it's a lovely couch. This whole thing is like, we'll probably jump back briefly to Irelandopedia and kind of when I genuinely mean rock and roll, because this time last year Irelandopedia came out and just went boom. How did you find that whole thing like?
It was surprising because Irelandopedia was both of our first book.
Yeah.
So we didn't know anything about the book world, about how to sell books or anything like that, and it just happened. And it took us by surprise, didn't it?
It did, but if I was to tell the honest truth, one of the first people that saw Irelandopedia was Ryan Tubridy, and he just lost. He couldn't believe what he did. And that came across on air.
Yeah.
That he never saw anything just quite like it before.
Yeah.
And so then obviously everybody wanted
Trevor
to see
listens
it.
to Ryan.
And the whole concept of having all 32 counties and in alphabetical order rather than in provinces.
Yeah.
It was just different. It was unusual, and it was a fun book to write. But
and how did it, like, even at that, like, to get to that level, how did it come about? Like, were you sitting at breakfast and go, do you know what we should do?
No.
I'm an illustrator anyway, so I'd been working for myself for a few years, and some people like Gil and Macmillan at the time, they noticed my work.
Yeah.
Floating around Dublin and give me a call saying we should work on a book together.
Yeah.
And it was sort of a loose idea, let's do kind of geographical Ireland for kids. And then as we developed it, we knew that we needed a primary school teacher to do all the content. And I said, I have someone perfect for the job. And I remember I called Dad and I got home from the meeting with Nikki, and I was like, Dad, do you want to work on a book? And he just said yes straight away, and it was grand. No pressure required.
And the process, was it a case of, so you obviously being a teacher and loving geography and things, did you feed, how did that even process, or did you have illustrations in your mind and then?
No, it was the way, as you said first, since we were doing it in alphabetical order, I just simply took Antrim and wrote out geographical facts, nature facts, anything interesting things I could find out, and things that I knew that would be of interest to children. And then I had about 50 or 60 items.
More sometimes,
and sent them off by email up to Kathi, and then she just took it and decided what would go on the page, what would look good and what would be interesting. And so, because again, she's got a younger mind than me, I'd be thinking boring things, and Kathi made it lighter. And so as she was doing that on Antrim, I was gone on to Armagh, and we worked like that. So I was providing the text, and Kathi was then making something of that.
Were there any counties that either it was too much or too little, where you're like, oh my God?
That is true. There would be some counties like Cork and like Galway and so
Dublin,
on. Dublin so much. We actually did it in two parts. We did Dublin City separately to Dublin County, because a lot of people outside of Dublin don't even realise that there is a difference between the county and the city.
Beyond the pale.
Beyond the pale, exactly. So yes, there were some counties that had lots, and there were other counties that didn't seem to have as much, and I had to do a lot more research, even though I might have gone through them a number of times in the past. But when you started doing research into them, they were just throwing up they were the ones I enjoyed doing, the Leithrams and the Longfords and the Offaly's and all of those. I just loved them because they were on festivals, things like that people are doing themselves in these counties. And then funny things that you come across, or famous people that I didn't even know came from Ireland. And you're talking about Walt Disney's ancestors coming from Carlow and things like that. That was fun.
Well, I think a lot of the success was, yes, it was for kids, but I know a lot of grown-ups who actually now use it as a, like, that's me, in other words, who kind of found like facts. What? And I thought that was brilliant. So that was amazing. Like, you got printed your own T-shirts, you went on tour, and absolutely fantastic. And then you kind of go, oh dear, second album, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
So now we have what I think is even more insanely brilliant, and I was crap at history. That's straight.
Oh, really?
Everybody knows that. I was bad at geography, but this is now my, you know, and it's when reading through it again, it's a very clean but brilliant. You know, it's a simple history, but it is the history in a nutshell. So was that just a natural progression? You just
I think it was a natural progression. Dad has such a huge interest in history and local history especially. So Dad, you're on the local historical site in Galtier, aren't you?
I'm on.
Yeah.
That's right.
So like that's Dad's biggest interest really. So again, perfect for Dad to write it. And I think after Irelandopedia came out, we realised like people really have a want for learning about these things, and as you said, adults as well as the kids, to like read along with the kids at home and being like, oh, actually that's what happened there. Like I heard about the 1698 rebellion, but I didn't actually know what it was about, and you know, all that kind of stuff. So this way, the illustrations I think just really lift it and make it a bit more accessible.
And it seems to be a lot, like there's a lot more illustration in this one. There's just there's a lot,
and a lot more text.
Yeah, it just seems it's a bigger thing, and I suppose the other great thing is it's not just in Ireland that this book is selling. It's worldwide.
Exactly.
You know, there's people getting them in New York and loving it, and it's just.
What Kathi came up with was the idea of having the timeline at the top of each page, and so that people, because a lot of times when you're talking to children and you mention Cromwell or you mention Daniel O'Connell, they don't know who came before whom or where do they fit in the story. Whereas with the way the book is laid out, you can tell the story and you can see the progression and how we got to where we are.
Yeah. And had you a favourite of the whole timelines? Was there a favourite era you liked it illustrated, or you like talking about? Was there a kind of a period of time, or was it just the whole thing was just like?
Oh, see, I loved Vikings and I loved the Normans, like the early stuff that you kind of would do in primary school, because I got to do, you know, like a Viking village you got to draw, or like the inside of a Norman castle, dissected. I love all that stuff. But then the stuff that I kind of would think, oh, that's real boring, you discover is actually really interesting, like the penal laws and that kind of stuff. I think that's
was huge.
You know, something like would happen, and then we're doing the rest of the book. I'm like, oh god, that influenced so much that came after it. I love all that stuff too.
Yeah, I think the thing that was hitting me mostly is we were taught strange things when we were growing up, and one of them was that our history was a religious thing. It was a religious battle between Protestants and Catholics. It was nothing of the sort, because when you start looking at it, we say from the time of the volunteers on, and the penal laws were in force, those that weren't Catholics and therefore weren't held down by the penal laws, they were the ones that were standing up being leaders, like the Wood Tones and Robert Emmett and all of those, John Mitchell and all of those later on. The contribution of the Protestant people in this country was fantastic at the time when we were so downtrodden we couldn't stand up and speak for ourselves. So like Charles Stewart Parnell and people like that, I mean, they were a godsend to us. And people forget that. You know?
Well, that's it, and it's throughout the book. That's the one thing you get. It's like, it's a children's book. It's beautifully illustrated, but the message is there's heavy stuff. It's education by stealth for some people, but I just think it's a brilliant thing, and it's an amazing achievement. Again, Ryan losing his mind again. I heard him last week. So thank you very much. Historopedia is available in store and online. You have to send it to far off cousins where all around the world. It's an absolutely wonderful, and Irelandopedia obviously still out there. Kathi and John, thank you very much, and good luck with the Happy Christmas, I suppose.
Happy Christmas too, yeah.